Up an all-new edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. On the Raw Report, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch has a special announcement that's going to change her world forever. And more Raw superstars as Lashley continues to reunite with MVPs. We've seen the reunification of the so-called Beatdown Clan. Could be a possibility. Also on the SmackDown Report, SmackDown says that Sami Zayn is no longer Intercontinental Champion. So Sami Zayn is unable to defend the Intercontinental Championship, unable to compete. So WWE decides to vacate the title and put a tournament in its place, a single elimination tournament. We'll get to that. Then on the NXT report, Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher are World Cup Tag Team Champions, and they couldn't coexist for apparent reason. And the Undisputed Era celebrates 1,000 days as members. And on AEW report, as the TV Championship continues and increases between Cody and Lance Archer with their issues and problems, also championships as well. And Rollins wants that world title that champion John Moxley has possession. A lot of championship matches going on AEW on the road to Double or Nothing. And hot topics as Alberto Del Rio lands himself in hot water. You won't believe for what reason. All this and more on the Pro Wrestling Show starts right now. Hello everyone, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host as always, Ken Dix here. Glad you join us here on Connect. Thank you all for watching the Pro Wrestling Show this week. Like I said, wrestling matters. Thank you out there, viewers out there for watching the Pro Wrestling Show. Joining the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe and share. Call a friend, tell a friend. That's what matters. Thank you all once again for watching. Let's get to the Raw Ring Report. The Raw Ring Report kicks off. We come out the fall off from WWE Money in the Bank as we had two Money in the Bank winners. We have from Raw and SmackDown. We get to the SmackDown Money in the Bank winner late coming on the SmackDown report. Let's get to the Raw Money in the Bank winner. And for the women's, we know that it was corporate headquarters fight for the corporate ladder where Asuka, Lacey Evans, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler, all six women competed in a long, grueling Money in the Bank ladder match to fight all the way from fight through WWE headquarters to get to the top of the roof. But nobody did it better and more entertaining than the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. Asuka won the women's Money in the Bank briefcase, but we were told that Becky Lynch was going to meet the winner that night. She kicked off Raw, meeting the winner, and Becky Lynch. It was rumors circulating about Becky Lynch, about what was going on with her. Why she hasn't been fighting, been seen on Raw as the past couple of weeks. We got our answer. Becky Lynch told Asuka that she won that briefcase and she will give her the Raw Women's Championship. It was kind of shocking at first, and I'm looking like, what's going on for real? Then Becky Lynch reveals that she is pregnant. And I kind of was like, wow, Becky Lynch is pregnant. And my congratulations to her, and congratulations her and her fiance, Seth Rollins. We'll get to Rollins later, what he did. But Becky Lynch leaves Raw Women's Champion. She vacates it as champion for 499 days. An impressive record. Becky Lynch, from humble beginnings, starting as the man to main event WrestleMania, winning the Royal Rumble, and becoming the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion ever. So that's an impressive milestone for Becky Lynch. And now Becky Lynch has a new milestone to look forward to as she becomes a mother. And Asuka is now the new Raw Women's Champion. I think Asuka's going to be a tough cookie to beat. I'm telling you right now, for that title. So everybody's going to be gunning Asuka. Becky Lynch is going to be doing her thing. We congratulate Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins on their expectancy. Speaking of that, Bobby Lashley was in a no disqualification match. Bobby Lashley defeated Alberto Carrillo by submission. MVP gave Bobby Lashley a pep talk backstage, wanted him to get him back on track. And asked Lashley, when the last time did you ever receive a WWE Championship match? And MVP, Bobby Lashley had to ponder and think about it. And MVP told him it was 2007. So Bobby Lashley has not competed for the championship since he returned since 2007. And that champion was against John Cena, where Cena won. And Bobby Lashley had something to think about. And could we see the reunification of the Beatdown Clan? Many of you may know, if you're an Impact Wrestling fan, the Beatdown Clan was Lashley, MVP was the leader, and King. MVP helped Lashley through that circle to become the Impact champion. We do the same for Lashley to become WWE champion in the future. See on that, and kind of like Lana was kind of like looking all confused and bewildered, like what's going on. So I don't know what that's gonna be. Speaking of fighting, and we continue fighting with Lana and Lashley too. Speaking of fighting, Savannah Vega's own stable, Austin Theory, Andrade, and Angel Garza have some infighting for some reason, where Austin Theory and Angel Garza haven't found their own. But Drew McIntyre, the WWE champion, came out there and Claymore hit Austin Theory, which Andrade and Garza laughed at. And then Garza got hit one with two. And the champion, the WWE champion McIntyre, had asked Andrade for him to bring it. They had fought in champion versus champion match, where Andrade and McIntyre went. McIntyre beat Andrade 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Well, Drew McIntyre asked for the so-called wild card rule, but they call it brand-to-brand invitational. So King Corbin, the WWE champion Drew McIntyre, asked to bring King Corbin one-on-one. So they'll have a match next week. King Corbin and Drew McIntyre. Seems like WWE eases up on the brand split due to the rating issues on both brands. Speaking of that, Moma Bliss returned with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross came back to Raw. They come on Raw because they're technically SmackDown wrestlers, but they come on Raw because they had the women's tag team titles, and the tag team titles can be defended all three brands. The returning, you had a guess, the returning Iconics. Iconics returned nearly in a 5-month absence, and the Iconics came back with a vengeance. The Iconics defeated Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and they will get a title shot next week. The Iconics come back to reclaim their tag gold. Speaking of that, R-Truth teamed up with Cedric Alexander and Ricochet to take on MVP's group. MVP himself, along with Brandon Vick, and Shane Thorne. Well, Lashley laid out R-Truth. And I think R-Truth won due to this crazy personality he got with the gap tooth and stuff. R-Truth got the pinfall. Lashley speared R-Truth out of nowhere and said he wanted to talk to MVP. So I guess Lashley is really kind of considering joining MVP's group. Speaking of that, former WWE champion Jinder Mahal had said in an interview and said that he's on a hero's journey to get back to the top. So we don't know what that hero's journey to get back to the top. He's like he found new leaf again. I guess when he came back to Raw in the beginning, he's not that mean, aggressive person that used to be a vicious champion. But we'll see what Jinder's intentions are. Speaking of that, former NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler talked smack about Becky getting knocked out. We told you earlier Becky Lynch is pregnant, and Shayna Baszler and received a championship title shot since WrestleMania. Then she wrestled her against Becky. Then she wrestled Becky while Becky was pregnant. It's allegedly. That's what they said. They said that the Baszler said the kid is going to suck, especially if we know who the father is. Shayna Baszler taking a dig at Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. You know what her problem is. Speaking of Becky's fiance and baby daddy, Seth Rollins got himself and Murphy disqualified in a tag team match against Aleister Black and Mysterio, who were recovering from being thrown off of the roof of WWE headquarters, Black and Mysterio, but they luckily recovered. They had some little black talk. But Seth Rollins was more despondent in the match as Murphy was trying to get Seth's attention. Seth didn't want to. I guess Seth was in the realization he's going to be a new father to be. And Seth had to think about it. Finally, Murphy got the attention that he needed. Seth Rollins did something more dastardly. He had took Rey Mysterio. He rammed Rey Mysterio's eye into the steel steps, the closet lead, making it punch him. So Seth Rollins snapped out of it. But I guess becoming a new father, as Rey Mysterio said those remarks about fatherhood would change you, and maybe he might be right. Fatherhood might change Seth Rollins into more mean and vicious. We don't know. Speaking of that, the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, were playing a game of basketball. You love that basketball. Yeah, they went against their contenders, the Viking Raiders, in the basketball, and it was 74-2. However, Eric and Iron let them win. I don't know, everyone trying to build confidence into Street Profits, knowing that they could play basketball or what. But it was like a out of the element surprise rather than wrestling, more entertainment. So it was like the NBA all over again. If you like NBA. Natalia was in action. She took offense to Shayna Baszler's comment about Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins' kid going to be pitiful and stuff. Shayna said Natty won't even have kids, that the Hart Dance is going to die with her. Wow. And Baszler then beat Natalia with pinfall. Baszler tried to do that move, but Natalia missed, but thank God he didn't go that far. Shayna Baszler is a mean Nelly. A negative Nelly, you like to call. Speaking of that, finally, the final segment was Edge says he's ready to move on for Randy Orton since they had come out the heels of their incredible last man standing match at WrestleMania. The Viper came out and congratulated him on being the better man at WrestleMania, but then said that while the better man won, the better wrestler did it. So Randy Orton concludes that he's the better wrestler. Edge has fought in 2 non-traditional wrestling matches since coming back, and he knows that he does not have the skills to match Orton's God-given ability. But he's up for the challenge, so they can have a straight-up wrestling match at Backlash. So at Backlash, it's going to be Randy Orton versus Edge, one-on-one in a wrestling match. I guess we'll have to see what a straight-up wrestling match is. Greco-Roman or something like that, or just exhibition. We'll see. All right. That ends the Raw Ring Report. Let's move on to the SmackDown Ring Report. On the SmackDown Ring Report this week, SmackDown kicked off with the single elimination tournament, the first round tournament, to crown a new Intercontinental Champion, as we talked about earlier, that Sami Zayn has vacated the Intercontinental Championship due to unable to compete and unable to defend. So WWE had no choice or no decision but to crown new Intercontinental Champion. But with that in mind, let's get to the results of the SmackDown Ring Report. On the SmackDown Report, Elias went one-on-one against King Corbin. Now, these two have been embroiled into a feud. They took it to Eden at WrestleMania, where Elias won. But Elias tried his best. Not a mismatch with King Corbin's speed and his prowess. Elias with some of his speed. Even Elias caused King Corbin to not win the Money in the Bank when King Corbin had his hands set to win the Money in the Bank. Well, Elias did that again, preventing King Corbin from not becoming the next Intercontinental Champion. Elias won the match and advances on to the Intercontinental Championship tournament. Also in action, Dana Brooke won against Naomi and pit Naomi in a couple of minutes. And Dana Brooke was shocked and surprised. Naomi looked a little frustrated. When we see the turn, Naomi turning heel for the first time, I would love to see it. Naomi reminds me of a cousin of mine. Looked like her, with the same complexion, stuff like that. Also, former SmackDown Women's Champion and current NXT Women's Champion Charlotte Flair made an appearance on SmackDown, and she did some trash talking with the current SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley and Sasha Banks. Well, Charlotte tried to plant the seed into Sasha Banks, telling Sasha stop being Bayley's assistant, stop being her lapdog, her lackey, and smell the roses. And you need to figure out why you should be the boss. It's their history together. And Bayley reminded Charlotte about her history, that Charlotte hasn't been seen on SmackDown ever since Bayley changed her new look and her attitude and became the SmackDown Women's Champion. And now Charlotte and Becky are back at it again. And we found out that next week Charlotte will take on Becky Lynch, not Becky, but Bayley, one-on-one, champion versus champion, NXT Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. Renewed classic. Who knows when. So, also another round match into the Intercontinental Championship tournament as Daniel Bryan went against fellow coach and friend Drew Gulak. This was a battle of submission technicians, a technical match of technical style, technical prowess. Both men knows chain wrestling and no submission wrestling better than anybody, let's say. And Daniel Bryan came the victor, did like a dragon screw and twisted Gulak's leg. But Daniel Bryan advances on over his coach and his friend. And Daniel Bryan looking forward to winning the Intercontinental Championship. He has won the Intercontinental Championship within 5 years, and he wants to do so again. And finally, was the main event. The main event was Otis. Otis earlier appeared on the Miz and Morrison's show on Dirt Sheet and talked about his win as being the Money in the Bank winner, which I'm shocked. I'm kind of, okay, Otis. But I don't know who's pushing Otis. I'm assuming Mr. McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. But Miz Morrison and Corey Graves probably questioned why has Otis won the Money in the Bank briefcase. We don't know. Otis was lucky. And Otis found himself a Money in the Bank winner, got the girl, and got a lot of notoriety. But Otis had got another challenge. Miz and Morrison asked Otis to find a partner against them. And Otis tried to look for Sheamus as a partner. Sheamus rejected him, and it was obvious. Otis was going to ask the man that he could cash in the briefcase on. Otis asked Universal Champion Braun Strowman to be his partner. And Braun Strowman thought about it, gave him a little time, and he agreed. And Strowman and Otis was a formidable team for one night without Tucker. Otis did the impossible, and him and Braun Strowman did a worm together and did the suplex or something like that and dropped. Otis won the match, and next thing you know, Mandy Rose came out there, and Otis thought we think about cashing in. I said, Lord, Otis, don't please. Braun Strowman will smash you down like a train, a locomotive. Braun Strowman and Otis won the match. So next week on SmackDown, there's going to be the AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura will go one-on-one. And Jeff Hardy and Sheamus will go one-on-one. Their feud. So we had the old feud from 2018, the current feud from now. And Otis and Mandy will team up against Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville in the mixed tag team match on SmackDown. So made it SmackDown and Charlotte Flair and Bayley. So you got a huge lineup on SmackDown next week. All right, that is hot. That is not hot, but SmackDown report. When we return, we'll have hot topics to talk about Alberto Del Rio latest charge, sexual assault, and the Dark Side of the Ring, the season finale, Chris Jericho talks to Owen Hart's widow, Martha, and we'll have more on the Becky Lynch news about her being pregnant. This is Pro Wrestling Show. To the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Ken Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on the net. Thank you all for watching once again. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is caring. That's what we do here on the Pro Wrestling Show. And thank you once again for everything you do here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Thank you for all for watching. All right, let's get to hot topics. So hot topics this week. And what a bunch of hot topics we can get to. Let's get to the first story that broke news this past weekend was Alberto Del Rio has been arrested for sexual assault. And let's go to the news affiliate in San Antonio for the latest. Take a look.
In tonight with late breaking news, a former professional wrestler has been arrested after a woman told investigators he sexually assaulted and beat her.
That wrestler, who goes by the name Alberto Del Rio and whose real name is Jose Rodriguez Chuquan, is facing a sexual assault charge. The Night Team's Daphne Gray joins us now with more on these allegations.
Guys, the details in this case so graphic, it's too graphic to speak about on air. Now, the sexual assault allegedly happened last Sunday. The victim told investigators it all started after Chuquan became angry with her, accusing her of being unfaithful. An affidavit states Chuquan allegedly hit the victim several times in the head before making her put on a dress and dance for him. Investigators say Chuquan told the victim not to cry, and if she did, he threatened to take her son and, quote, drop him off in the middle of the road somewhere. Chuquan is then accused of tying the victim's hands with his boxing straps and gagging her with a sock during the sexual assault. The victim says she didn't remember much after Chuquan placed his hand around her throat. Days later, when the victim provided a statement and photos of visible bruises for police, Chuquan was arrested for sexual assault. Now, just a little history about Chuquan, who resides here in San Antonio. He became the first Mexico-born world champion in WWE history after securing the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship twice, according to Sports Illustrated. He is also the only wrestler to win both the 2011 Royal Rumble and the 2011 Money in the Bank ladder match in the same calendar year. Chuquan's bond was set at $50,000, but he has since bailed out. Guys?
All right, you see right there, Alberto Del Rio, El Patron, whatever you want to call him, arrested for sexual assault and could be charged allegedly for rape for his girlfriend. Then they also made mention that he told his girlfriend to dress for him and do some sexual innuendos, and also saying that the girl could he could dump the girl's sons out of the roads out of nowhere. It's kind of despicable for a former WWE superstar that's looking to come back. And he was making claims and promises that he was coming back to WWE. Look like his stock has likely dropped because of this alleged charge. Like I said, it doesn't look good, and the WWE got a history. Sometimes they'll bring back stars that got bad history if they clean themselves up and get themselves back in old shape. So we hope Alberto Del Rio gets the help that he needs and stuff. This doesn't look right. It doesn't look good. Speaking of that, we told you earlier on Raw and SmackDown report that the wild card rule, aka the brand to brand invitation, was coming back due to WWE's low ratings. They said that the executives from Fox and NBC Universal are looking for any moment to bring the ratings back up, and that's what they're trying to do at this critical moment where, I guess they're coming from quarantine and like getting the numbers that they thought they were going to get and stuff. But it'll be a lot of work. Speaking of that, MLW are in talks with Mike Tyson. We heard there was a rumor and report out there that MLW was in report from Mike Tyson It was going to be exchanged to promote some of his fights. We didn't say the NBLW might be outbid because AEW has countered their offer and have confirmed that Mike Tyson will be at Double or Nothing to present the TNT Championship to the winner of either Cody or Lance Archer. So this is a big deal. And then, Mike Tyson is a former boxing heavyweight champion, a controversial figure at most. But Tyson appeared at WrestleMania 14 in 1998 during the WWE Championship match between Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels to help usher in the Attitude Era of Bruce and Lee. So Mike Tyson is going to be presenting the belt to either Cody or Lance Archer for the TNT title. They do that at WCW. When Muhammad Ali presented the belt to Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan won. Ali presented it. Also, MLW prospect, superstar, Richard Holiday is likely to resign with MLW. Richard Holiday, the 6'3", 230-pound superstar, likely to resign. And I guess Richard Holiday could be the next heir apparent to MJF, who left the party for the company. And Richard Holiday looks like he's going to be staying in MLW. Could be a top star, could be a top champion. They need to build around him as a heel. I would build him around a JBL. You have the faction, you just need one more guy. And you have your faction, the new dynasty. So, speaking of that, former Raw Tag Team Champions Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson will address the public about their WWE release in July. They'll get more in tune about why they got released from WWE. Speaking of that, Crazy Steve has signed with Impact Wrestling. Crazy Steve, known from the Decay with Abyss and Rosemary, comes back and resigns with the company. All right. Speaking of that, what else? Speaking of that, Ryback, the big guy, Ryback, gives his thoughts on the current Money Bank winner Otis and what he thinks Otis' storyline will be coming up in the future. Take a look.
So Otis, he has been saying that Heavy Machinery is not done, but he has, obviously been put in this singles feud with Dolph Ziggler. His stuff with Mandy, in my opinion, has been the best storyline stuff that they've been doing. And Vince apparently is a big fan of Otis.
I've been saying it from the beginning, and I think Heavy Machinery was a great way up there, and I know him and Tucker are friends and tagged, together here for years. And Otis is a big time star, man. I made a tweet a few weeks back or a couple weeks ago where and it got a little bit of traction. I would like to see Otis have a big babyface run here with Mandy, and I would like to see success go to his head, where we see a la The Rock transformation with the shades and the Hawaiian shirts with little pigs all over him. He's a big barbecue pork guy, and he transforms himself into the Big O, where he's more of a very cocky, arrogant ladies' man, and Mandy's not enough for him anymore. And then we see a big heel run as the Big O, and then eventually back to babyface. But that would be if I'm booking Otis, I'm in the meetings every week speaking up for him on this. I need to see the transformation into the Big O. It's money.
That would be. I love that idea. And
I want to see him turn on Tucker, kick him right in the dick. I don't want to it's just. I want to see the Big O, and when the full blown heel turn, he cut the heel promo on his mom, who we know really let's set it in, because he loves his mother, and I think we got to really go all the way with it, where he really sticks it to everybody. The success, the money, it all, it's just too much for him.
Do you see Vince pushing Otis as a legit top guy, or is it more of a Godfather, Bushwhackers, like a fun mid-card thing that he loves, but he doesn't, not enough for him to put it in a pay-per-view main event?
Yeah, so that's where the question of that is I think how high can it go? And I think that depends. And again, we need a crowd. Like the stuff he's doing with a crowd there, he draws your attention. I would ultimately, I would like to say, you can't just say we're just going to put the title on him. I think you go by the crowd and the numbers and everything going on. If this thing just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter and people are buying into it, well, he's a very believable guy as far as physically. He's a very, he's not like a guy where, so I love in Santino and he was very comedy based. Otis can be comedy based, but also has that Green Mile, I could kick your ass. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
There's that quality to him. Whereas guys were like a Eugene before, and I liked Eugene, and Eugene was a big guy too, though, and stuff, but it was kind of limited. Where this, I feel like there's potential for it to possibly happen for him to have that main event run if they do it right. I don't know, though. I think we need to wait and see. At the very least, though, I think you got a nice mid-card act that, with a lot of TV time, could be as over as anything.
Yeah.
Right back in his thoughts that they could take Otis and make a magnificent run with him. I don't see Otis being champion. I just see Otis just, if they make Otis a champion, I'd be shocked. And I'd be, like, oh my God, no. You never know. Anything can happen in WWE. Speaking of that, Martha Hart, the widow of the late great WWE superstar Owen Hart, broke her silence and appeared on Chris Jericho's Talk is Jericho. The reason why, because Martha will be a subject in Vice's season finale of The Dark Side of the Ring of her late husband in Death Owen Hart. And here's Chris Jericho interviewing Martha about what had happened with the fallen accident and what led to the creation of the Owen Hart Foundation. Yes.
Last few things. Tell us about the Owen Hart Foundation that you started and how big it's become over the years, and what exactly is it?
Okay, so I started the Owen Hart Foundation. If I can just go back a bit, when I was going through my really hard legal battle against the WWE, and it was really tough. Like, I have to say, it was a knockdown, drag out fight battle against them. And a lot of people might not realize this, but they actually sued me for breach of Owen's contract. And I do talk about this in the episode. I wish we could have gotten into it a little bit deeper, but
how could they sue you for breaching his contract?
Well, it was the craziest thing, because they had in their contract that, you could only sue them in Connecticut. But I wasn't suing them about Owen's contract. It was something totally different. But, through that process of the lawsuit, they were trying everything and anything to muddy the waters or just intimidate me. And so they were just kind of throwing everything at me, and that was also part and parcel of manipulating Owen's family and muddying the waters and just drawing it out, because this was a company, they have deep pockets and they could pay lawyers forever to keep this case just, going and going. And so it had gotten so nasty and so ugly. Like, my lawyers, we couldn't even conduct depositions. We had to actually have a judge in the room just to conduct basic, depositions, because the lawyers were always at each other and they couldn't get anything done. Like, it was so vicious. And then Vince sued me because he wanted the case moved to Connecticut, because in Missouri, you're allowed punitive damages, but in Connecticut, you're not. So he was so worried that, oh my God, there's so much negligence here, that the punitive damages are just going to be through the roof. So he sued me, which was really tough, because I had to actually hire lawyers in Connecticut to fight that lawsuit while I was battling the wrongful death lawsuit in Kansas City. And then with the family, working against me, and everything was such a mess. It was just so discouraging and awful. And so then, we had, we'd wanted to stop the delay of they were delaying. And so then my lawyers said, listen, if we put a number on the table, they won't accept it. But then what happens is the interest starts running on that number. And that will prompt them to speed up the lawsuit. They'll stop delaying. So it was a tactic. So then we put this number on the table that, again, like I didn't want them to accept because I wanted this to go to trial. I wanted accountability. I wanted justice.
Right.
And then we got to the last day where they had the chance to accept it. And then I said to my lawyers, like, I kind of panicked. And then I phoned my lawyer and I said, like, oh my God, like, I never thought about the possibility. What if they accept it? Then where's my justice? Like, I don't get my day in court. And then she said something to me that just sort of like, it was like a bomb dropped. And she said, well, like at the end of the day, like all it's going to come down to is money. That's all this is going to, and no one's going to jail. No one's,
Right.
And I'd never thought about it, because all I was just so hell bent on was getting justice. And then when she said that, it was crushing to me to think like, this is just going to be about money in the end. And then it just kind of came to me like a flash of light. And I was like, you know what, then I'm going to make my own justice. And what I'm going to do is no matter how this thing ends, I am going to start the Owen Hart Foundation. And so it was just like this insight that was just instant and then it was just like, it uplifted me. And then I was like, I don't care now how this ends because I know what I'm doing with it after it's. And then, that's sort of how like my evolution of thought process got me to the point where I could settle the case, because before I looked at settlement like failure, it was like, I don't want that. I want to be in court and I want accountability. But then when I realized I wasn't really going to get the justice that I was looking for legally, so I was going to create my own justice. So I created the Owen Hart Foundation in sort of like Owen's spirit, that, it would sort of resemble his kindness and his humanity. Because another thing people might not realize is just how incredibly kind Owen was. He was the kindest person I ever met. And he was so non-judgmental. He accepted everyone at face value. He never judged anybody. And he would do things that like people, it's just kind of unheard of. Like I remember one time he saw this homeless guy and he was just checking out of his hotel. And so he said to the guy, you know what, like I'm leaving early, like this room, you got it till whatever time if you want to go in and have a nap, and there's like leftover pizza. And he said, just don't break anything, So he he would do stuff like that all the time. Like he helped people all the time, so that's where, with the foundation, it was just like, this is just like mirroring like how nice he was and how kind he was. So our mandate's education. We have 2 signature programs. We provide scholarships for students in need. And also we have a housing component where we help families to purchase homes. And then we also have a partnership program where we partner with lots of other organizations. So we help schools all over the world. We do so much stuff. Like I really encourage people to go and check out what we do, because I could talk about it all day. I'm really glad like my kids are super involved, and they really help out lots with the foundation. And,
you had Jerry Seinfeld come perform. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, we had. So every year, I should mention that too, we do a high profile entertainer event for the Owen Hart Foundation. It's our big fundraiser. And over the years, like we've had so many amazing performers. And you're right, we had Jerry Seinfeld. He came in for our 10th anniversary, and he just came in again for our 20th anniversary. But we've had like Robin Williams and Steve Martin Short. Like we've had,
it's huge.
Just like, so like we've had so many great entertainers. We had like Ringo Starr. We had, Howie Mandel. We had like Russell Brand, like so many great comedians, so over the years, and musicians too, like Elvis Costello and Sarah McLachlan. And so, so it's been really good. We had Bob Newhart, which I loved. And You know, we just had so many great people come in for us. And now it was interesting because it was really hard to get going with those types of events. But now we've built up such a great reputation as really having these amazing high profile events, that now it's nice because we have a good reputation, and now they're happy to come in for us. It's not such a grind to kind of get people. And we had Alec Baldwin, which I loved because he did the whole Trump thing, and that was really great.
Right. About the heart giving insight about the WWE, how they play with courtroom and stuff, how they play hardball. He ain't like Perry Mason, but hey, this really is. The WWE sometimes they'll play hardball with you. You don't want to respect it. But she led that money, and our lawyers told her to take it, and she created the Martha Hart Foundation, where no person's left behind. So I can commend her on that. Speaking of that, there's been rumors that the Sting, the WWE Hall of Famer Sting, the Stinger, may become the AEW. We heard those rumors reports that Sting no longer signs a merchandise deal, Legends deal. Sting been trolling AEW lately. Will Sting be the one to come back with a vengeance? Well, Booker T had his thoughts on would Sting make the jump to AEW back home on TNT with this.
2000 and was it 14 or 15? I don't remember the exact. I think it was 14. We were at the Toyota Center, Night of Champions. Becky's husband that we just were talking about, Seth Rollins, was defending the WWE Championship against Sting, and that was his last match. He got that kind of well, I guess stinger would be the way to say it, or the issue with his spinal cord, and it was scary. It was frightening, but he was able to finish the match. And that was the last that we saw of Sting. He won the Hall of Fame in 2016. I believe it was 2016, Dallas, Texas. And we thought that was it. But now, Book, there's rumors. There's rumors on the internet. A couple days ago, they were supposed to have a new action figure coming out for Sting, and then that was put on pause.
Shut it down.
They shut it down. And then Ryan Satin, Pro Wrestling Sheet, was reporting yesterday that Sting is no longer under contract with WWE. And then if you go look at Sting's Twitter page, he's been tweeting a lot about AEW and All Elite Wrestling. And Cody Rhodes has been replying to some of these tweets. He's been talking about Jake the Snake. He's been talking about Lance Archer, this, that, and the other. All the rumors now are saying not only are we going to see Sting in AEW as a figurehead or maybe presenting the championship, which a lot of people are saying he's going to do at the Double or Nothing, we're going to see the Stinger back in the squared circle as an active competitor. Do you think this is going to happen? Do you believe the rumors?
Brother, you know what? Anything can happen in this business. These old guys, man, always feel like they want to jump. You know what I mean? They always feel like they still got something left in the tank. They always feel like they got one last run in them. So I would not doubt for 1 minute that we see Sting back inside of a squared circle wrestling against, what's his name? What's the guy name that painted his face? Darby Allin. Sting versus Darby. You know what I mean?
Don't talk me into this. I'm getting talked into it.
Don't put nothing past Sting getting back in the ring, because Sting is one of those guys, man, to where I said it once, I said it again. WCW, man, he had a hell of a run. He did a whole lot for that company, and in that company, made a lot of money at the same time. WCW shut down, and Sting went, radio silent for a long time, up until TNA, came along, and then he was a part of that. But that did not, to my estimations, live up to the expectations of what we wanted to see from Sting. So he had to make a trip to WWE to actually get that done. Once upon a time, he said he would never go to that company just because of what he saw happen to me. 2-time Hall of Fame, many world titles. I don't know what he was thinking about. But he showed up late. When Sting showed up, Sting was no spring chicken. Sting was the oldest guy in the locker room. Sting could not go out there and perform at the level that he once could, as well as, Father Time catches up with everyone. And then was Sting run in WWE the run? I'm sure, I'm sure he would have liked a better run. I'm sure he would have liked to made a bigger impact in WWE. I'm sure Sting, his mind wanted to do so much more than his body would let him. And once you get an injury like that in WWE, they put you on a no-touch list. So him doing something there is slim to none, as far as going out there having that WrestleMania moment with the Undertaker, slim to none. So to see him, make the jump to AEW, I can see that. I can see Sting doing that because right now Sting probably still feel like he got something left to give, as well as Sting probably feel like he want to end it the way he want to end it. A lot of wrestlers have that bravado that they want to go out, some special kind of way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't know. I think the rumors are true, and I think they're saying. I was just reading that WWE Hall of Famer will not appear at Double or Nothing pay-per-view, but that just could be smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that could be, hey man, we not give up the Sparler, man. We got Sting coming in, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that might be
you never know what to believe with that. But what is crazy is the match that he always wanted was the match with The Undertaker. And I feel like him leaving WWE, you said that the chances were slim to none. Well, now they're none. There's no shot that we ever see that dream match. And it's interesting that Sting wants to give that up. But I just don't. Do you think it's safe, though? Do you think it's safe to get back in the ring? Now, I know Flair went forever, right? But do you think it's safe for Sting to get back in the ring right now?
No.
At his age, with the layoff that he's had?
I don't. I mean, I don't. Especially with the style that they work in AEW, unless they're going to put him in there with someone like Chris Jericho, someone that could go out there and take care of him and protect him a little bit. But I would not want to see. And then again, nothing against these guys coming back and trying to get back in the ring or anything like that. But Sting is well past his prime, and for him to go back out there and do it, it would just be for him and him only. Because I know all the fans, they're going to love Sting, whether he get in the ring and wrestle ever again. His fans are going to be there for him. He show up and do his autograph signings, whatnot. But just like taking that bad bump with Seth Rollins and coming up lame the way he was in the ring, from that debilitating injury as far as what was going on in his spine, what's going on in his neck. I've seen that before. I've actually had that paralysis before myself. I know how scary it is when you land on the ground on your knees and wondering what the hell is going on. Am I going to be able to, get up and, continue and finish this? I've been in that position before. I know exactly what it feels like. And for me, I chose to never put myself in that position again, unless I was in a real fight with someone, you know what I mean? And I had to protect myself, but as far as getting back in a wrestling ring, I chose to never do that ever again. Other than jumping in reality wrestling ring.
But even that was in like a tag situation, right? Where you had, 8 other guys or 7 other guys or whatever it was in this most recent match that you did that could kind of, cover for you, like you said, with Chris Jericho. But the thing that I hate the most about this is you talk about The Undertaker. Remember me, you, and Renee Young theorized maybe we could see Sting and Undertaker in the Boneyard match, and we could see the match that way. That's what I wanted, Book. As a fan of Sting, as a fan of Taker, that's what I wanted, and I'm not going to get it, and I'm upset about it.
Man, forget it's finished. It's done. Okay, it's not gonna. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And me personally, I don't know. I'm not missing anything. Me personally, not seeing Sting and the Undertaker. That I think that was more so for big fans like yourself as well as Sting. I don't really even know if the Undertaker is going to miss not being in the ring with Sting at one time. Would it have been an awesome thing to see those two guys in the ring? Yeah, but the performance would have meant a whole lot more to me
than just seeing those two in the ring. What would that match have looked like more than anything? Would it have lived up to the expectations? Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, people wanted that fight for years, and it didn't live up to the expectations. People wanted Tony Ferguson for years. We don't know if that fight would have lived up anywhere near the expectation, especially after this Gagey debacle this weekend. So, that's just the way I look at stuff like that right there.
Signs and good analysis by Booker T on scheme, possibility of doing what he needs to do. Like 61 years old, the Sting have one more match left in him to do what he needs to do. We'll see. See on that. Speaking of that, Devon Dudley says that he's retiring for wrestling officially. Devon Dudley's done with wrestling indeed. Congratulations for Devon. Devon now a producer for WWE, so Devon must have helped the younger wrestler get over it. Congratulations for him. Also, a new shoe line coming to AEW. AEW for the create a new shoe line is going to feature Matt Hardy, Kenny Omega, John Moxley, and many others. We got a shoe line coming up now. And Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle will be featured on the shoe line too. So I guess we'll see how this all plays out. And Rachel Ellering was the daughter of Paul Ellering, WWE Hall of Fame manager of the Rollins, had got released. And a lot of people was talking about that Rachel was making complaints about injuries and stuff. So Rachel Ellering out the door at WWE. All right. And finally, Triple H and Shawn Michaels made the announcement that the In Your House brand is coming back, but only this time to NXT. So NXT will get the rights to In Your House, and they're gonna make it do in your house. In your house indeed. So you know how that goes. So, all right. That ends hot topics. Let's get back to our ring reports. Get back to NXT. On NXT this week, NXT kicked off with Matt Riddle versus Timothy Thatcher versus appearing Bartel and fighting Ashton Eichner. Well, Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher appearing won after Matt Riddle walked away from. Not Matt Riddle, but Timothy Thatcher walked away from Matt Riddle, and they won the tag team titles. And Matt Riddle was so angry and frustrated that he challenged Timothy Thatcher to a fight match, which is going to happen later on that show. Also, Tegan Knox went against Amy Hardwell and won by pinfall. Also, in turn, Cruiserweight Championship Tournament, as Jay Allis defeated Tony Nese to rise up. So, you know how they go. Also, Cameron Grimes defeated Finn Balor due to pinfall due to Damian Priest striking Balor with a nightstick. Then Priest hit Balor with the Reckoning on the steel chair, revealed that he was the attacker that attacked Balor a few weeks ago. Where that goes. Also, in turn, Cruiserweight Championship Tournament again, as Gentleman Jack Gallagher went against Isaiah Swerve Scott by pinfall. And so, Gallagher, Alice, and Maverick Ray Maverick still trying to fight his way and still trying to keep his name here. Also, Kaden Carter defeated Aaliyah by submission. Aaliyah trying to be recruited by Robert Stern and Chelsea Green to join their faction. Aaliyah hasn't joined it yet, and she's still debating on that. Also, in a dinner with the Garano segment, Johnny Garano talked about how he beat Dominic Dijak, and which must say a lot about how Keith Lee is in a flavor of the month. Candace, his wife, had talked about herself being case number 2, who is an example of what they to do to every undeserving individual in the NXT like me and him. So they're targeting Keith Lee and Megan Young, who keep getting opportunities after opportunity if she fails. Lee and Yim are definitely the next targets. So, since Candice LeRae and Johnny Raw are a married couple, and Keith Lee and Mia Yim are together. They're a couple. Not married, but they're a couple. They're next in their target. And you know, y'all wants the NFC North American title. So Matt Riddle, we'll see on that. So Matt Riddle took his first reign out of his former tag team partner, Timmy Thatcher. And he beat Thatcher. But after the match, Timmy Thatcher attacked Matt Riddle and left a message for Matt Riddle to see that was coming his way. This match ain't over between these two guys. I'm telling you. Right now. So, all right. That is the NXT ring report. And finally, the AEW ring report. The AEW ring report this week. And kicked off with Jake the Snake Roberts and Murder Hawk, Lance Archer coming out of the ring. And they were supposed to talk about what happened last week when Archer and Jake the Snake did something despicable to Brandy and left the snake in the middle of the ring and put the snake. Cody, pissed off, mad, angry, came out in a truck and wanted a piece of Lance Archer. He did. Cody, Cody went out to Lash and leave him. It got personal. So we'll see between these two guys when they fight for the TNT Championship in the coming weeks. But they don't know. Also, Jurassic Express, Young Boy, and Russo is covered by Marco Stunt, one of his best friends, Trent Burrell, and Chuck Taylor and Orange County. It was the first match of the night. It was back and forth, at the end. Jungle Boy trying to look impressed so he can get himself ready for MJF and Double or Nothing. Chuck Taylor spiked Jungle Boy with an awful waffle for the 3 count for the victory. Wardlow appeared and wiped out Marco Stunt by sneaking into the mirror barricade. MJF and Wardlow walked away, laughed, and Luchasaurus helped Marco to his feet. So we tell you what was going to happen with that. Also, a fatal 4-way is likely to determine the next contender for the Women's Championship against Nyla Rose. Well, Penelope Ford was super bad, kept saving her fiance against Galaxy's greatest Amy, Chris Saline, Dr. Big Breaker, and Hiroshima. So it was a match back and forth. But at the end, Hiroshima won the match. And, Baker had Stanley title for the lockjaw, so you expect Britt Baker and Chris Stanley go against each other. Shishida pinned Ford a running knee strike. They beat Nyla Rose with standing in the rings. I held up her championship as referee Ray Shanahan. So you look and see with these two women in Double or Nothing. So it was announced that Nyla Rose would defend the championship against Hiroshima. So this was followed by the Inner Circle. Santana Ortiz against Kenny Omega, one half of the World Tag Team Champions, and Matt Hardy. It was back and forth and stuff like that. So, Sammy Guevara came out there trying to intervene. Matt Hardy gave him a twist of fate and spiked him upside down. But Matt Hardy. So Omega used the V-trigger on Martel Fowler, dropping him on his head for the pin. So Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega on roll stuff. Also, MJF with Wardlow win against Lee Johnson. It was a quick match. MJF won the match using a shoulder break on Lee and then forced him to tap out. MJF said next week he signed up to face Marco Stunt. So, Marco Stunt is just the guinea pig for all these matches. Speaking of that, Pineapple P went against the champion Chris Jericho, coming by his inner circle. Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Ortiz, and Santino. So Jericho slapped Pineapple P and Pete whipped the town on Jericho. And Chris and Jim Ross him upset. He didn't want to be no upset. Chris Jericho hit the Juice effect on Pineapple Pete, got the win, 1, 2, 3. So Chris Jericho and the inner circle was ready, and they issued a challenge to the Elite for a stadium stampede match, whatever that is. This is a falls count anywhere, anything goes, no holds barred match. Well, Vanguard won, flew in with a t-shirt, and Jericho kept asking Vanguard won, did he want to join the group? And Vanguard won never gave an answer, so Chris Jericho sent out his own messenger, his new member, Floyd the Bat. And Floyd the Bat attacked Vanguard won and crushed him into bits and pieces. Vanguard won was that. And then Chris Jericho escaped. Him and his inner circle escaped when Matt Hardy tried to rush in to help aid the save of Vanguard won, but it was a little too late. And so the match is set, but Matt Hardy was inconsolable. Did not know how to react to this, especially his pieces. We'll see, Matt Hardy will win for Vanguard won. And the main event was the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, accompanied by SUCU members Scorpio Sky and Frank Kazar, against the Exalted One, Brody Lee, with 10 and other members of the Dark Order. This match was devastating. Now, this whole thing got started when people assumed that Christopher Daniels was the leader of the Dark Order, but he wasn't. Brody Lee was. Brody Lee, Christopher Daniels, had a little match. Daniels looking to gain the upper hand revenge. He did in a couple of matches, a couple of strikes. But at the end, Christopher Daniels went down with that discus running clothesline. Brody Lee won the match. Brody Lee told John Moxley that he's going to beat the hell out of him and stuff. And, like I said, Brody Lee and his minions celebrating the ring. John Moxley had seen no storm to the ring. Brody Lee ran. Tim ran the hell out of Moxley, beat the hell out of all the minions. John Moxley looking forward to his match, his world title match against Brody Lee. We'll have that for the predicted outcome next Saturday, but that'll be a preview for that. All right, that ends the AEW Ring Report. Thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I've been your host, Kenny Diggs, and we'll see you next week for another edition. This next week for Double or Nothing. I'm telling you, next week's gonna be a damn 2 pro wrestling shows, one for the predicted outcome for Double or Nothing. Well, we'll have all of them. So, hey, we'll see you next week for another edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. See you later.